everyone, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I am here with another one-page wonder. This one happens to be Easter themed, but you can make it with any papers you like, and it's just a super cute little boulder something. I'm using some papers by Pink Monarch Print. It is the blue spring papers. There's some other pieces from the paper kit, and then there's a blue Easter add-on kit. See the cute little bunny? So it's the week before Easter, and I wanted another little Easter kit. Aren't those images precious? Little chick. You can make yours with any paper you like. And these kits are very springy. I selected quite a few of the ephemera pieces that are Easter themed, but there's a lot in there that's just, if you like this color palette, that's great for spring. Another little bunny tag. Okay, so each page has a pocket, and it comes together really easy, quick and easy. So let's go ahead and make one. I've done a similar one before, but this was way back before I was like putting measurements and other things in the description, and I just wanted to kind of update it and redo it a little differently. So a couple of years ago, I think I did one kind of like this, but we're gonna start over. Okay, so you need one piece of paper, and this I printed on both sides. You can use, like I said, scrapbook paper. If you use single-sided paper, that will work. You just might want to do a little more layering or decorating, or just, if I don't mind having the white. So, you know, play with it and see what you think. But you need to cut a piece of paper that measures 10 inches by 7.5. That's the piece we're going to start with. And then you are going to cut on the 10-inch side at 5 inches, so that you have two pieces that measure 5 inches by 7.5. And again, all of this will be in the description for you. Now we're going to use the trimmer and do a couple more cuts. Take one, we're going to do them differently. So take one 5 by 7.5, and on the 7.5 inch side, we are going to cut it at 3 3/4. That cuts it in half. So now you have two pieces that measure 3 3/4 by 5. Now what we want to end up with is two more pieces, but they're going to measure 3 3/4 by 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let me think about the best way to do this. Okay, is we're going to cut 3 3/4 inches off of the 7.5 inch piece. And then you have this piece left. We cut it in half, 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. And now we need to cut 1 inch off of the end to make it 4 inches. So I guess you do at first cut them the same way. And then now you have two pieces. These are just extras you can use for something else or to decorate with, that measure 3 3/4 by 4. All right, those are the 4 pieces of paper that you need to make this beautiful one-page wonder. Now we are going to do a tiny bit of scoring. It's not hard, but because especially the 3 3/4 by 4, it's almost a square, you do want to make sure you're on the correct side. So for these two, we are going to score on the 4 inch sides. Just make sure you have your paper turned. I'm on the 4 inch side, and I'm scoring at 2.5. And I know it's hard to see, but I'll add some ink and we'll get through that. I picked very patterned paper. Again, this isn't the correct side, 3 3/4. Just turn it, make sure you're scoring on the 4 inch side at 2.5. Now, the other two larger pieces, these are the ones that are 3 3/4 by 5. Score on the 5 inch side at 2 inches, both of them. 5 inch side, 2 inches. And again, I'll put that in the description down below for you. Okay. Now we're going to fold on our score lines. Nice and neat. And I might change which pattern I have folded in and folded out, I guess is the way you say that, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, so again, we have two pieces that are the smaller pieces, and then we have the two pieces that are a little bit larger. All right. Now, the ones that are a little bit larger, let's just set aside for a moment. And I'm going to go ahead, I am going to do some notching with my circle punch, and I'll have to add a little more ink once I do that. But let's just go ahead and get a little ink on here. I don't know if that's going to help you guys see what I'm doing or not. It probably would have been a little easier with, at least on one side, more of a solid color paper. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you plan to make one, all the things. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll consider doing so. Okay, now both of these these are going to become pockets, the little pockets with the thumb notches. So I'm going to pick out I just randomly grabbed my 1.5 inch punch. And I think the easiest way to do this to make sure they line up is, again, I'm not doing a hard crease or anything, but I'm just matching up the edges. And I'm going to hold it. And I kind of want a shallow punch. I just want them to sort of match, if that makes sense. There we go. Let me put the ink on there and see if you can see that. See how they're lined up? If you don't want to do that, just mark the middle or mark where you want your notches, and punch them out. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing for this one. La-di-da, it's a little fiddly, I know. But again, I could have taken a ruler, marked the middle, and then punched each one separately. There we go. 2 pages that look like this. All right. Now, set these aside for a moment and let's prep the other ones that are a little bit larger. And it's easy, like I said, they're close to the same size, and it is easy to get them a little mixed up. So I'll set them aside. So I am loving that it's springtime, except for the allergies. I complain because it's cold in the winter and I can't wait for spring, and then spring gets here and I'm like, oh, my nose, and I'm stuffy. But it's all good. It's all good. If leave me a comment if you have plans for Easter, or maybe how you guys celebrate Easter. When my children were young, of course, we always did. After church, we did the Easter egg hunts and the Easter baskets and all the fun things. So a little different now that they're older. Okay, pick one of these. It doesn't really matter which one, but pick one that is going to be the cover. And then we are going to decide the contrast, how do we want contrast? And I think what I'm going to do is, I had this one just folded this way. Again, it can also be folded this way, right? We're going to, I want the contrast. So I've got one of the smaller ones and one of the larger ones, and it's just going to slide together like this. Eventually, this is going to be that this cover, okay? All right, so once you have that lined up and you think you like it, we're gonna just add some glue. And I'm just using my everyday glue. Use whatever glue that you like. You just wanna make sure everything is as straight and neat as you can. Put glue along the bottom and the top, and I'm gonna put some right along the score line. This is going to make the first side load pocket, and we'll decorate this a little bit. Cute. Okay, set this one aside, and you're gonna do the same thing. So, and I really like that flower there showing, so this might end up being the front one. We'll see. So same thing. You have your larger one, your smaller one that's the pockets, and you're gonna slide it in. And then you're going to add glue to the top and the bottom. And I just came down a little far with my glue and along this edge. Okay. And then let that stick. Now, pick up your other one. We're gonna come back and glue down the back pocket. I did that just to give it a moment to stick. So this is the one we just glued together. This is a pocket. So we're just gonna glue it down. Same way, it's just a little bit more narrow. The top and the bottom and along the score. Along the score probably isn't necessary, so it's up to you. Okay, so we have a pocket, and when it flips over, there's a pocket. Pocket, now we've got to glue this one down. And again, you could have glued both pockets on the first one before going to the second. All right, I hope everybody's still with me, not hard. Now, I think I want this one these flowers to be towards the front. So all you're gonna do is just stack these two together. And we are going to turn this into a pocket, okay? So decide which one you want on top. They're exactly the same. I just liked these roses peeking out, so I'm putting it on the front. All right, once you have it lined up, like this, there's the two flaps. We are going to add glue along the bottom, the top, and right along here, leaving this open, all right? Or you can put the glue on this side, it doesn't matter. Top, bottom, bottom, top. I'm gonna go right along here. I held everything nice and sturdy. And this is still open. Okay. And there you have it. Now, I made the decision to do a little notch down at the bottom, and I'm going to do that again right here. Just a little thumb notch. I don't know if you can tell, this is also just over just a touch, just a sliver, and it's because of where it creases, it slides, and I'm just going to trim mine off. This one, I didn't trim it that well up here, but I trimmed down here. Again, it's optional, but it's just that little sliver. All right, then we're going to add the ink. And we have constructed our one-page wonder. We have, let's use one of these to make it easier to see. We have a pocket here. We have a pocket here, a pocket, a pocket, a pocket, and a pocket. And now we're going to decorate it. It's so easy. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, I loved how I did the circle here. I did a circle on the front and on the opposite page. But again, I left it open so that I was not limited to just a little tiny piece in this pocket. If I closed it up, we would have lost a lot of real estate in the pocket. So let's do that. You could put any type of embellishment on the front. You don't have to do a circle. If you love those flowers, which I do, you could just leave them. There's all kinds of things. All right, I do have some pieces already cut out. And I was thinking this little house would be super sweet. I do hate covering up those yellow flowers. Probably should have put the notch up here. But I could still do that. There's no reason, there's nothing that says I can't do that. Let's do that. We'll have this one at the bottom and the one we're making together at the top. And even though I've already notched it, the circle is going to cover that up and it doesn't matter. Look at that. Now on the opposite side, let's pick out a circle. And these are just, I used a 2-inch circle punch, and some are just from paper. And then this was like from a tag. I picked an image that I wanted from the kit. So again, it's a 2-inch circle, but it can be any paper. It can be a piece of ephemera. It can be a photo, you know, whatever you think looks good. I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to use these. Okay. So, how did I do this? The way I did this was I was careful, and we're going to do the next notch here in a minute. I wanted it to overlap some like this, but I don't want to glue the pocket closed. So this is the side I'm going to keep open, and I'm only going to put glue maybe a little more than half. I also have this little notch to contend with. Okay, so I'm going to come over. Let's put, here, we'll just use this. Something under there just in case I get sloppy. I think I did okay with my glue placement. Now, I hope this is clear. This is still open. It really is still open, I promise. There we go. It is still open. All right. We have not glued it closed. Now, if you need to come in here and add a little extra glue because you were being careful, you can do that. It looks cute. And then on this side, I'll be lining it up with this one, but again, no glue on that section. So I'm going to just add a little here and here, and then on this portion of the circle. There we go. I like that. And we may add something to it. I love how that little bird's nest with the eggs, I did 2 circles. So we'll decide. That's a pretty pattern. All right, now, you know what? I'm going to use a smaller. I'm going to use the 1 1/4 inch. Do another little thumb notch. And the thumb notch isn't even necessary, but it is kind of cute. And it starts to match the other pockets. Very sweet. Okay. So that's what I wanted to do for the front. Now it's just looking at some of the pieces and making some ephemera. I did want to show you how these are from the kit, but how I did these, because it's not rocket science, but there's a strip on one of the pages of these cute little tags, and they're the perfect size for these pockets. And you look at this, and I would normally, there's a little space, you know, in between. I would chop these into 5, you know, separate tags, and then if I wanted to back them. What I realized is I can come in here, and again, it's just maybe a time saver, I don't know, and cut 2 of the tags. And then I'm going to cut, and not cut them apart. And then I'm going to cut these 2. And it still has to be trimmed a little bit. But now that I have it trimmed on each of these edges, I can just fold it in half, line it up. And even though there's that little bit of white, by the time I add the ink, you don't see it. And then I can just trim the angles and the top. I hadn't trimmed the bottom carefully on this one yet. All right. And I'm going to glue it together. So instead of, just lining it or something like that, now I have this sweet little tag. And with a little touch of ink, and again, this is the tea dye. I guess I've gotten into a rut with it like I was with walnut stain for years. It's a good rut to have. And look how cute. And it's the perfect size for these pockets. And even with some seam binding on there, it's so thin, the seam binding is, it just folds right up. So we can put a little piece of seam binding on these too. So I'm going to go ahead and make the other one. And of course, then you have this one that you can just cut out, and then maybe if you want to use it, line it with a different paper, or don't even bother, right? So I'm just trimming it out. Again, like I said, it wasn't rocket science, but there are times that I don't even try that with a digital. I'm like, okay, I have to cut them apart and then, fiddle with them. And this time I thought, I wonder if that'll work for this particular set. And they are close enough that you can do both. You can cut them apart or just fold them over. All right, so very quickly, I have 2 little tags made. I am going to show you what I did for that little, this little tag. I used this tag, and I made it, what did I do? I made it 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. And it was the perfect size. So whatever paper you want to use, if you want to do that, mine ended up being 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. And let's see, I'm pretty sure all I did is, and I actually just glued them back to back. I'm trying to think if I can do a fold over like I did. So if I want 2 1/4, that's 4 1/2. I'm going to estimate 4 1/2 inches. And then I wanted 2 1/2. I'm going to I'm chopping off some of these lines. 2 1/2. Look at that. Just making ephemera out of that fits the folio size I'm making, or the folder size I'm making. Super easy. I did round corners. Would help if I got it actually in the corner rounder. So I hope the decorating ideas are helpful. You can honestly embellish yours any way you like, and with whatever you have on hand. Again, I think this style of little folder would be great if you have little pieces like scraps and things, and you want to make just little tags and little pieces. It would look really cute then in your folio. Yeah, that's a cute size. Trying to decide which one I want to be kind of the front. Thinking maybe this flower here. Let's see. Yeah. This is a 1 1/2 inch circle. Ooh, it's a little close to the edge. Now I also have this that I might want to do something with, but I think the bunny is going to go on this tag that I'm making. I'll put them right there. And he's gonna get a piece of ribbon too. So I'm just using my seam binding, and I'm doing some blue and some yellow. So I just think that looks cute with the paper. Let's do the yellow here with this bunny. Now this one, I didn't even glue the circle down. I just stapled it on underneath. So again, lots of different ways to attach. I could have also punched a hole, done a slot punch. I'm not real happy. I am not happy with how that ribbon, sometimes the way it lays. So let me show you what we're gonna do. Very easy solution. Oh, I may even have a piece I want to use. And say, let's just get another circle. I was going to go for a tiny circle, but let's go for this one. Another circle. And we might see it. If I just glue it on here, we'll see the white. So let's back it. Let's see, which way do the eggs go? And then I'll ink it and glue it down. Cuteness. I'll decide which side I like the best. You know, sometimes, like, see, I guess I could take the ribbon off too, but see how it just is flopping strangely? I don't like it flopping strangely. So I'm going to manhandle it a little bit, and we're going to do that, and we're going to glue this down. Now, I know from past experience it will do better with hot glue. So we're just going to set it aside. I just saw this is off. And that's going to bother me. Sometimes I don't worry about little things like that. And then sometimes I see it and I'm like, I really want to fix that. All right, we are going to set these aside for just a moment and not forget about them. Now, I was working on a ribbon. Let's see if I can do better. Sometimes I'll take, this seam binding isn't as crinkly as some, and I'll turn it, and these may be a little long for these little bitty tags, but it's okay, I can trim them off. But all I did was just kind of folded it over to help shape it. Very cute. And we can decide how we want to decorate these as well. One more. Now this one is already kind of nice and crinkly. Makes it easy. But I did trim them a touch long. All right, so now I have those, something in those pockets. Let's think about this circle and if we want any kind of decoration here. If I use the 1 3/4 inch, it layers very nicely like this one. So let's just look at what pieces I have from the kit out and about. And if there's something we'd like to layer. I love this tree. Just wondering if there's a portion. That'll look cute. I'm just going for it. I did like the contrast with the bird's nest, but I think this one is cute. Yeah. And you get the, you know, just the portion of the tree. I'm going to just glue it down for decoration. I love these. I don't want to cover them up. They got a little covered up with the circle because I didn't want to cover up the yellow flowers. I don't think I'm going to do anything here unless it's just like a little word or a number or something at some point because I don't want to cover those up. All right, on this page, let's see of the things I've already cut up. Is there something that will fit or work? If not, I can make something else. I'm kind of thinking I may just take this sweet little piece of ephemera and just, you know, tuck it in there. You can even go that way and you can get the little piece of the birdie's hat. And it's something whoever is looking at this can pull out and unfold. That'll be cute. This I want to decorate. I may want to put something here. I have some strips, some other strips from the paper kit. So this one has, it's like a little pattern, a green. This is, I think, that pattern. Some of the yellow flowers. This is one of the offcuts when we cut that inch off. Let's do a finger tear. A little bit at the top, and let's just put a strip down. And then maybe something else. I love to do little layers and scrappy looking things on my folios and journals. Okay. We have that we can use for something. Ooh, you know what? This is going to be cute right here. A little Easter basket of eggs. There we go. And we'll decorate that too. I think that'll be really cute as a decoration. And it's kind of is it the same house? Similar. Different size. All right, cuteness. And I may try to do something with that bunny too. Let's take the 2-inch and chop us another. Well, that one didn't do very well. I'll trim it up. When I'm on the edge, or if I get a little too close to the edge of the paper with that particular punch, even when it was brand new, it has done that. A little annoying. Yeah, give us a little contrast there. I don't want it down here. I think I'm going to bring it up because the others are lower. There we go. And ta-da, we'll do it like that. Very sweet. I kind of want something right there. I'm just trying to think of what ooh, yes. I am just into the circle punches today, aren't I? It's like a blue poppy. I don't even know if blue poppies are real or if it's just the artist's interpretation. If you guys know, let me know. I know there's, of course, the red and yellows and oranges and things. With the red poppy, I think, being the most like common or familiar. All right. And now I need, or I want, a little something right there. I don't know. Pretty, right? So many pretty things. Trying to decide if I need to tear anything else up or if I can use something I've already been punching. How about we just make it look like a little tag? I think that's kind of like what I did here with that piece that was left over. I'm just going to put it there like it's a little, like something clipped on maybe, even though it's glued down. There we go. Just to break up that pocket a touch. All right, let's fix this. Get these eggs the way I want them. Do a little bit of hot glue. And I'm gonna, the whole point was to get this ribbon the way I wanted it. Cute. Didn't cover up the bunny too much. And if you do see it on the back, it's decorated there too. Isn't that cute? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I could definitely use a little something. I don't really want to see it on the front. So I'm going to just put it kind of over to the side, and it'll be similar to the one that's on the back, just to give this pocket a little something extra. It's looking like it needs it. Okay. And I didn't get to use this bunny, which is okay, but I'm wondering if I trim him down a touch, will he go in one of these pockets? Let's try, only because he's so cute. And I could save him for something else, but let's just stick him in. I haven't been as chatty today, I don't think. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm sitting here crafting and I'm realizing I'm being kind of quiet. All right, he's there. We know he's there. He'll be a nice surprise for someone when they open up this sweet, sweet little folio. Okie dokie. Let's put the hot glue gun away and look at what we have. I think they're both very sweet. A little different, yet the same fold, right? All right, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're going to make one. Let me know. And until next time, I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks, guys.